Welcome to Conversations That Convert. Every week, we'll spend about 10 to 15 minutes tackling relevant lead generation, marketing, and sales topics for remodelers, home improvement companies, and home builders. Conversations That Convert is brought to you by Builder Lead Converter, your perfect sales assistant. And now, here's Rick and Daiana.
Hi, hello, and welcome. And please let us know you're here and what business you're in. And if you have a question or thought, we'll try to get to it during this episode. And if you're watching the recording, just please leave us a comment or question. And if we use it in a future episode, of course, we'll make sure you get the credit. So today's topic is do's and don'ts for builders. 6 sales tasks every builder sales representative should stop doing. So if you're ready, Rick, I'm curious, how are you today?
Well, I am not sitting in my car. I'm sitting in my office. We had no idea, Daiana, we were going to be able to see your beautiful interior of your car. You should probably explain what happened to you today.
Yeah, I mean, it was an unexpected surprise for me too. Here in Romania, it was a storm, and the road just a river came across the street, so we were stuck in traffic for more than 3 hours. So the unexpected happened. So here I am, joining this session live with you, so you can see the sun just entering my face. So yes.
Well, we're glad you're here, and we're glad you're okay. So you avoided that flash flood for sure. You're right. So today's topic, we're talking about sales tasks. Every sales rep should stop doing. This is part 1 of 2. We're going to focus on 3 today, and then we'll get into 3 next week. And for those of you that don't know, I spent a lot of time coaching. A lot of years coaching, going back to my first role in sales management was in 1999. So I hate to age myself, but 20 plus years in coaching and sales management and hiring salespeople. So this is a topic that I've spoken on in depth. And Daiana, you also do some coaching as well. So we're gonna, I guess, maybe pivot a little bit here and just talk about some coaching ideas for you, because this is what what it comes down to is that if you want to make an impact, a change in your business, you really need to start with things that you are doing right now that are really unproductive. And Daiana's going to talk about that a little bit more. So before you want to jump in and start adding something, like to make some improvements, we need to clear out some of the mess and take some of these things out of your schedule that you're doing right now that are either unimportant or they are not urgent. And a couple of weeks ago in one of the videos, we talked about the 4 quadrants. So we have things that are important and urgent, and that's where most of us operate, unfortunately. That's your fires, where you're trying to just put out your fires each day. Then you have the quadrant where things are important, but they're not urgent. And that's where we want to shift to operating. And then we want to either eliminate or delegate things that are urgent and not important, and eliminate things that are not important and not urgent. So in order to try to get you in the right mindset, because I really want you to start thinking differently about this, is that we need to have this discussion on what is your time worth, because none of us in this business get paid by the hour. If we're an owner operator, obviously we get paid based on our margins. If we are a salesperson, typically there's a commission, maybe a commission plus a percentage of profit. And so we've always looked at, well, if I sell this job, I get this many dollars. But what I want to do right now is I just want to talk a little bit about, hey, you know what? How do I determine what is the value of my time? And so I put together this little overlay here, and it's just a little simple calculator. It's going to help you do just that. So we're trying to answer the question here, what is your time worth? So in order to do this, we need to really understand 3 things. Number 1 is, what's the average sales price? So if you sell new homes, you sell home improvements, or if you sell remodeling, what is your average sales price? So for this example, what I want to use is simply $50,000. Oop, that's 500,000. Sorry, got one too many zeros. Okay, $50,000. And we're going to say that we make about 10% commission, or our net margins are about 10%. and that it takes on average about 10 hours of our time, 10 hours of direct selling time. And so when we do that, what we come to the conclusion is that when we are working one-on-one and directly selling with our prospects, that our time is worth $500 an hour. Now, what I want you to think about is the question is, how can you do more $500 an hour work? So what you have to do, obviously, is start to automate, delegate, and eliminate. And Daiana, you had a couple of thoughts on this.
Yes, I have a sentence that I like. It's called the daily income producing activities. It's where you pay your attention and where you focus your activities on a daily basis. So income producing activities are those activities that really will bring profitability for your business. And the question is, where do you spend your time during the working hours? Do you spend your time on income producing activities, or you spend on time on other things that you think are profitable but they are not profitable? So here the question is, what are those, let's say, top 3 to 5 income producing activities, and then prioritize them, and my invitation is to do them during the working hours. So if you have let's say an income producing activities, for example, to build relationship with your customers, with or new prospects, let's say we have a target of 10, for example, per day, then those 10 calls, 10 activities should be during the working hours. So, and then if you want to present your business to 3 people, then those activities will be income producing activities, and it's best to do them during working hours. And of course, maybe you have some follow-ups. So that's my structure: to build relationship, to talk with new prospects, new leads, and then present 2 or 3 times your business, and then follow up with previous customers or prospects or leads. So that's a formula that we consider it's important maybe to consider and find your own numbers. My suggestion is to think about 10 free. So 10 prospects that you build relationship with, then 3 presentations of your business, and then 3 follow-ups. And then if you stick to those 10 free formula of income producing activities, then you can see a real growth in your business. And then do the rest. I don't know, maybe you want to write an article, or you want to spend some time surfing on the internet or on Facebook. So you have to ask yourself, are those income producing activities? And if the answer is yes, just go for it and do them. And so the idea is to focus on those, find them, 3 to 5 income producing activities. You can also borrow this formula, 10 free, and use it and see and test it, see how it works. And then you can do you can surf on Facebook or on the internet and do whatever you like outside working hours. And
so good
what
points.
do you think?
So I would add to that, I categorize things. So, and you got into it a little bit, but I had the 4 P's. So when the 4 P's. So number 1 is I want to focus on prospecting. Number 2 is preparation. Preparation, that would be for number 3 P is presenting. So I got to prepare before I present. And then the last one, the 4th one, is partnering. And that's what you talked about. Partnering, you're going to partner with, you have your business affiliate relationships, and then you have your customers. So if I'm a home builder, one of my business relationships obviously is realtors. If I'm a remodeler, I might be networking with interior designers. I might be networking with architects, where they're going to send me business. So preparation, presenting, prospecting, and partnering. Those are the 4 categories. Now, one other thing I do want to touch on here, though, is that automation is real. And what I mean by this is that you talked about eliminating activities, okay? Facebook. I mean, there's so many things that we do that are not urgent, not important, that suck up our time in our day. So it takes discipline to do that. So I do have to cut that out of my life. But I do want to say that automation of necessary tasks is real. One of the things that we do right now is that we have what's called our lead connector, and our lead connector goes on a website, and we can automate the process of not only capturing the lead, but doing all the follow-up, scheduling the appointment, and then surveying or starting the initial qualifying, which we're going to show you a little bit of here today. Before we ever talk to that lead. So that allows you to do more of these income producing activities. So let's jump into that and talk about, what are these things you should stop doing, number one here. And number one, things is I see a lot of wasted time is chasing bad leads. Chasing bad leads is usually because there's just not a good process. And as an example here, this ties into to automation. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. But Daiana, this is something that obviously you and I work on. This is simply an offer. This is based on a Facebook and a Google ad campaign. But in here, we start to automate qualifying questions. So you see the first question here is, where will your new home be located? So we have lots of different answers of where this particular client their service area. But then we also have this other. So number one here, this is a qualification question for us. And if somebody chooses that, we can then take that and call them an unqualified lead. So the second question, of course, is price point. In here, we have the ability we can qualify people. So this builder doesn't do anything below 400,000. So if somebody checks here, we're going to automate the process of disqualifying. Now, we don't completely kick this lead to the curb, but what we do is we get the information to the client. They can decide then if they want to follow up with them, or if they have enough leads in front of them, they're going to simply let this one go. And so Daiana, you and I meet each week and we go through our leads. And I mean, what's the ratio approximately, like say unqualified to qualified leads that we see on a weekly basis?
I think it's 80-20, our role from last week. So I think it's 80 disqualified to 20 qualified.
Okay, so using that, if I'm chasing bad leads, that means for every 10 leads I get, if I'm following up with 8 of those that are unqualified bad leads, I'm wasting my time. That is not income producing time. What it means is I lose the opportunity to follow up with the people, the 20% that are going to buy. So that's just one way automation can make life a whole lot easier for a salesperson, where you can be doing more $500 an hour work, versus the work where you're making $5 an hour, or less. And we just want to focus you on those income producing activities. All right, so the next stop doing task is too low of a sales price. We shot a video the other day, I think it was episode 2 or episode 3, but we talked about, how do you increase your average sales price and margins? And one of the things we said is you have to build a lead backlog. So when you have too low of an average sales price, it usually means that you are taking on business that you should not. So case in point, I was talking to a builder in Florida earlier this week who does home improvement and primarily design, build, remodeling for kitchens and bathrooms. And I was asking him about his margins. And he said, well, normally they're pretty good, but right now we're doing a job that's not so good. He goes, we're just doing it because, it's cash flow. We just got to keep some dollars coming in the door. And so immediately, this is unfortunately the consequence of not having a good lead backlog, is that instead of being able to sort through the 20% that are actually good leads where you're going to get paid what you're worth, is that you now got to take on some of those bad leads where it's price. You're giving up margin just to try to keep some cash flow coming in the door. Now, I want to show you another example here of how you would build that lead backlog. This is another client, and they do a lot of lakeshore homes. So anytime you have an area that's got low inventory, high demand, low inventory, and what I mean by that is low inventory as far as housing, or there's high demand for a service that you offer. So inventory levels of existing homes that's helpful for home builders. And if you have high demand, such as home improvement in your geographic area for homeowners, that's a boom for remodelers and home improvement companies. So if you see this right here, this is something that says, hey, receive notifications on new lakeshore opportunities. There's a high demand for this area. there's low inventory. And so what this allows this particular builder to do is simply to start building a lead backlog of new lakeshore opportunities. And they categorize all these leads for lakeshore opportunities. And then when something comes up, they can right away reach out to these folks, and they can pick and choose the 20% that are ready to move forward and pay them for what they're worth for that opportunity. So that's this one idea to build a lead backlog. It's going to vary based on your business type and also your geographic location. But that is a very effective strategy, and they get several leads per week just for that one particular item. And then the last thing we want to mention is stop doing is too much windshield time. And what this comes down to is simply poor phone qualifying. Too often we get a lead in, we don't qualify them properly, we get into our car and we're going out and looking at their home site. We're going to go look at their home, take a look at the job. We might spend 30 to 60 minutes driving there, another 30 to 60 minutes looking at the job, and another 30 to 60 minutes going back. Then we may be putting together a pricing package or an estimate for them, and then we're going to present it to them. So we can waste hours behind the windshield instead of when we're focusing on the wrong lead. So that phone qualifying becomes so important. And that's just having a good script, asking the right questions, and then being bold enough to say no. The other thing that I see is too big of a geographic area. So if you're serving too big of a geographic area and it's taking you 30 plus minutes, 45, 60 plus minutes to drive to your job site, if you're not making the margins you want to make, you're spending too much time behind the windshield. So this is usually indicative of a couple of things. Number one, you're not specialized enough and you're spread too thin. Number two is simply that you are too specialized, and you're in and then you're trying to only find the clientele that are after that particular product or service that you offer. So there's that fine line there of being a specialist but not being hyper specialized. So you have to have such a large geographic area in order to sell your product or services. And today, right now, a lot of remodelers and home builders and home improvement companies, you have a real opportunity to bundle services because it is so hard to find good people that will actually respond to leads. So what can you do? What's the takeaway from today before we jump into next week's show is you can go ahead in this lead connector tool where you can get in to start automating some of those mundane tasks of following up and chasing those bad leads. You can start automating that and taking that off of your plate. So taking those, which is typically important and urgent, so you can take that off of your plate so you can focus on more of these important but not urgent activities in order to start growing your business the way that you want to grow it. Daiana, any final thoughts from you?
Well, those are amazing news. Where can I find this lead connector tool?
Good. Wow, what a question. You're going to find it in the comments section below here if you're on Facebook, okay. And then on YouTube, it's going to be in the description. And you can go ahead and what you're going to do is simply go through what one of your leads would go through. You can test the functionality, see how the automation, the technology works on your phone, and decide if you want to try it for 30 days for free.
Oh, that's amazing. 30 days. Thanks for sharing all that. And we promised to speak about 6 things to stop doing. And next week, it's part 2. So jump on next week, same time, and we will. You will find out the next free sales tasks every sales representative should stop doing. So next time. So until then, take excellent care and talk to you soon.
And for my brothers and sisters in Christ, may the love of the Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the holy fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all. See you next time, guys. Bye-bye.